faith. Contrary to previously held belief, you cannot really prepare for 32-degree heat. So I'm hiding in here. I hope the aircon isn't too loud. I didn't really get to the poems. It was unbearable. The introduction was really disappointing, actually. I don't know enough about the history, and obviously it's super condensed because this is like 5 periods over, I think it goes back to what, 5000 BCE, 4000 BCE. So it's a lot to cover, and I don't begrudge it for condensing it the way it has, and I don't know, I'm not well versed in the history myself. But there are a lot of typos. Like, a lot of typos. I think at one point there were 2 in one paragraph. And like most of them are just like people have forgotten to put in spaces between words. So it's a bit jumbled. Yeah, that's a little... There are like excerpts from poems though, and there were 2 poems before like the introduction and the chapter index, and they look lovely, and there's no errors that I can see in terms of like spacing or anything. But the introduction is, yeah. Saxo Sera Communuit Brum, aside from my horrific pronunciation of Latin, is a line of a poem that has been going around Tumblr, and I love it because it's just so much fun with language. Sera and Brum, of course, are cerebrum, which means brain, and the line is basically talking about how someone's brain was broken with a rock. And it's so fun, and I love Temesis, and that's kind of... I know Temesis is the opposite of what I've been complaining about with the poetry, but it comes to mind all the same because that was a very deliberate choice. And like on page 52 there is this poem from a woman whose work is like poems about how much she loved her husband, I think, or how much, or rather they were the ones that survived. And so, she's talking about how she loves her husband, and love fire comes up, and I think that's fantastic. Just the imagery is wonderful, but like, is that poetry, or rather is that intentional poetry, or are you just not doing your diligence again? And it's annoying, and it probably shouldn't annoy me as much as it does, but it's not ruining, it's getting in the way of the poetry, and I wish that it wouldn't. It's only just occurred to me in the long time that we've been here. That might be the Alhambra. Hey, so we are packing. Well, we're mostly done. And I have not finished this. My criticisms of it were mounting, and it's not that they're not enjoyable, it's just that I really want to figure out where my head is with the book. And also I think it was just a really bad idea to be like, I'm going to go on holiday and I'm going to film 3 vlogs concurrently. It just kind of fell to the wayside. There will be more clips, and I will sort out my head. So good afternoon. It is a long time since I began this vlog. We came back, I put my bag away, I didn't realise that the book was still in it, and so it's just been out of sight, out of mind. I'm not sure if I commented on this in the previous clips. I'm really noticing the translation this time as I'm going through the book and trying to find where I stopped. I don't like it. And I always hesitate to criticise the translation because I don't know the original language. But and being lashed by the tongues of your haters is a choice. And it's really jarring to have that kind of modern phrasing in it. And then there was one which is, can't you see we've become beetles run by a beetle boss? And I don't know, I've seen translations of male poets and it's always so beautiful and poetic. And this is, yeah, it's quite clunky and crude in places. I like classical poems by Arab women. Some of the translation choices did feel a bit too modern and did kind of take me out of the poems at times. And some of in the biography section of the women, sometimes the editor seemed a little bit snippy, not necessarily about the women themselves, but about Islam, about the way that the texts have been interpreted. And I think criticism isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the tone of it was a little bit weird. But overall, I did enjoy it, and there were other collections mentioned in the back of the book, which I would also like to get to at some point. I do wish I had gotten to the Andalus section while I was in Granada, all the same. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I apologise for the delay.